Hey, this is Pastor James coming to you with an uplifting message to give you some encouragement. And after this message, I want to share some great things that are going on in this community that will actually enlarge your faith and transform your life just by praying for them, supporting them, and even participating in them. The big idea I want to share with you right now is that everybody has reasons why they don't spend more time with Jesus. Some people's reasons are that they're too busy. Other people say that they've been wounded by people who followed Jesus, and as a result, they don't feel that they can find a way to connect with Jesus. Some say that Jesus is just too abstract. They can't wrap their mind around a God who is with them, even though they can't see Him. And other people would say they're just too creative, and they just can't find a way to narrow down their focus and to really spend time with Jesus. The question I have for you is this: why don't you spend more time with Jesus? Now, it's not a rhetorical question. It's a question that's designed to help you look and pay attention to what have been the obstacles. I want you to imagine yourself in a dark room, surrounded by things that you keep tripping on, and it happens over and over again. You just can't seem to find a way through the room without falling over something. Well, imagine that this question is the light being turned on in that dark room. And this question, turning on the lights, helps you to be able to see what the obstacles have been to your relationship with Jesus Christ all of these years. Now, one of my favorite stories is a story of a man named Bartimaeus, who was blind and who called out to Jesus from a huge crowd from the side of the road, yelling at Jesus over and over again. Even though people told him to shut up and not call out and to be quiet, he still called out to Jesus and he said, "Jesus, Jesus, heal me." And then this happened. It says, Jesus stopped and said, "Call him forward." And they called the blind man. "Be encouraged. Get up. Jesus is calling you." And so he threw his coat to the side and he jumped up and he came to Jesus. And Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And the blind man said, "Teacher, I want to see." And Jesus said, "Go, your faith has healed you." And at once he was able to see, and he began to follow Jesus on the way. See, the big idea is this, that Jesus is calling you. Be healed, and then follow him. You see, Jesus loves to meet us in the place of our greatest hope. He loves to respond to our faith. He loves to see us go from a place of total blindness to seeing. And so, take this moment to call out to Jesus. Take this moment to say, "Jesus, will you please help me see again?" Now, imagine this whole scenario. All the people that were surrounding Jesus could see him and they could follow him. And sometimes I wonder what it would have been like to follow Jesus and be able to see his face. In fact, nobody really knows what Jesus looked like. The Bible doesn't tell us that. But then this blind man calls out to Jesus, and then Jesus calls out to the blind man, and then the blind man can see. And so what I want you to be thinking about is this: even though we can't see Jesus, we can't see his face today, it doesn't mean we can't spend time with him. And just like the blind man who didn't actually know if Jesus was there, but he believed that Jesus was there, he couldn't see him, but he called out to him anyway, we can do the same. And when we do, we will discover that Jesus will actually turn on the lights, he will open our eyes, and he will bring us to a new place of faith. And so I pray that you would recognize Jesus is calling out to you, and then you would be healed by following him, just like the blind man, who then followed Jesus into Jerusalem and undoubtedly would have followed Jesus and seen the sacrifice and even the resurrection. So these are the messages we like to share with you. It's all, this whole thing, Highlands Church is about pouring the Word of God into you so that you can be formed and transformed and created anew. And so if you ever need an encouragement or an uplift, just come to us. But I want to tell you some tangible things that are going to be happening that you can actually feel in touch and be a part of, and you can actually help change the world with in the next coming days as we get ready for Easter. The first one is this, the Easter offering. Now, the Easter offering, we have given everybody this last Sunday a little bouncy ball, or as some people have told me, it's called a super ball. But we gave everybody one of those little balls to keep in their pocket until they were ready to give their Easter offering this year. And so if you have one of those balls in your pocket, I pray that you're praying about how God is calling you into deeper places of faith. And we already have almost 25 balls in the little tube that we're filling up. And the goal is to fill the tube all the way up to 150 little balls all the way to the top. And the dream is that we would have enough money, not just to provide basketballs that aren't deflating on our 70 to 80 youth that are coming each week, or not be able to provide pizza so that these kids can be fed on a weekly basis and actually ministered to as well alongside. And so we could do so much more. Even in the month of January, we had somebody call us and say, we need some help. They work through the Link, which is our social services partner. And the Link called us and said, this people need help with their utility bills. And for the first time, we had to say, hold on, we can't do that right now because, well, we don't have the resources to do that. And so we don't want to be in that place where we're not able to provide for the time of need. And so we want your help to be able to step it up and be able to minister to this growing congregation and this city that is calling out for help, just like the blind man from the road. And then the other thing that I would like your help with is this. It is on Maundy Thursday. Now, Thursday before Easter is called Maundy Thursday, which makes no sense. It sounds like Monday, Thursday, but it's Maundy Thursday. And that day, Thursday, is the marking or the celebration or the remembrance of the Last Supper that Jesus had with his disciples before he was crucified on the Friday before Easter, his resurrection. And so we are going to meet here at the church as a potluck dinner for all of the adults and all the kids. So essentially a family-style potluck where everybody's going to be meeting at tables, and we're going to have communion together just like the disciples did. Not in the form of just dipping a piece of bread into some juice, but we're actually going to have a meal together. And we're going to celebrate communion as one big church family. And so we want you to come to that. And one thing that you could do, if you want to, just come if you want, but if you want to, make a homemade soup and bring it in a crock pot that night. Or bring a loaf of fresh baked bread. And we will be handing out flour and the ingredients and even the little recipe for the fresh baked bread this Sunday after church, so you can take it home and then you can meet for our potluck, our Maundy Thursday Last Supper night together as a church. And that's at 6 p.m. and that is on Thursday of next week, or this just coming Thursday leading up to Easter. And then the last thing I have to tell you about is Easter. Easter is at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Easter morning. These are what we call our sunrise services at Highlands Church. We have 2 sunrise services, one at 9 and one at 11 a.m. They're our only services, and we call them sunrise service because the sun is technically rising and because they're outside. So some fun ways that you can participate in this service is you can actually bring a lawn chair. Now, we have tons of chairs available, so don't worry about bringing one. If you didn't bring one, don't worry about that. But it does mean that we have more chairs for more people if you bring your lawn chair. And here's a tip to the wise. If you bring a lawn chair, invariably, your lawn chair is going to be so unbelievably comfortable. So you'll be so comfortable, so much more comfortable than their chairs on Sunday. And so come to Easter morning. There are essentially going to be about 1,500 people here on Easter. But we want to make sure that happens. We want to make sure the word gets out. So if you can help us to share the word and get the message into your community. So if you have a yard sign, share that. If you have some postcards, don't hold on to them so that a week after Easter you're wondering, why didn't I share those with somebody? Get those out into the community. And if you can do more, come by the church and pick out more postcards. And the number one thing you can do to make sure other people have a transformative Easter rather than just a day off is to actually invite them. And that takes faith. Calling out to them. And remember, that's the voice of Jesus working through you in your life to reach out to people and invite them into the kingdom, into this joyful thing called heaven on earth. And so do that. Find 20 friends and say, what are you doing for Easter? Can you come to Highlands Church? We want to have you there. And when you do that, they will be transformed. I guarantee you there will be so many people that will say, you know what, I'd like to meet you there. What service are you going to? And I'd love to sit with you. So if you get a chance, text people that you haven't talked to in a long time and say, would you like to come sit with me on Easter? Email them and even call them. And here's a tip. If you call somebody, just ask them, how can I pray for you? Because they may not come on Easter. They may say they're out of town. But remember, there's a reason God has you calling them. There's a reason God put them on your heart. Ask them and say, is there something I can pray for you for? And you will discover that what you're actually doing is not just inviting someone, you're ministering to them in their time of need. So God bless you. We are excited excited about this year ahead. And if you need any help yourself, let us know, because we believe God is already right now, through this message, preparing the resources so that we can meet you in your time of need, whatever that may be. God bless, take care, and have a great Holy Week. And even see you this Sunday on Palm Sunday with all the kids in worship waving their palms. They're going to be coming up from the downstairs kids ministry and coming through and waving their palms in worship this Sunday, and then going back down to kids ministry. But it is one of my favorite moments of worship here at Highlands Church. So God bless you. We're with you. We love you. And we can't wait to see you again soon.